Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great week last week. And I know if anybody watched the Oscars yesterday, there's a lot of energy flowing in. Let's see if we can keep that energy flowing in this week. I just got back from a few days, actually the past 5 days straight there in Mexico on a carrier trip, actually with the National General product team. So learned a lot of great things that we're going to be sharing with you over the next couple weeks. They have a lot of exciting things starting to roll out there. That being said, I did land late last night. I'm up early this morning. Again, keep in mind, I am there on the West Coast in California. So let's see what we can do today and kind of get some good points across on how to get your appointments to show up. If you've been signed on for a while, which I know we had a lot of people jump in early this morning, you got to read the quote on the screen, which I think is extremely powerful. Your mission, again, and I know I've used this one once in the past, is to break down your prospect's resistance to an appointment by challenging them to think differently about their problems and priorities. So today we're going to go through some quick hints on how to get your appointments to show up, but keep that in mind. Our whole reason for a client to show up is for them to know that you have a solution to their problem. Our sales process, again, our whole job is there to fix a client's problem, but to do that, we have to find out what it is. To do that, you actually have to have your client comfortable enough to talk with you. So those are a few things that we're going to go over today. Hopefully a few quick hints on how to get your clients to show up. Keep in mind the whole point behind these are 15 to 30-minute meetings in the morning. And if you can walk away with 1 or 2 tips, that is completely worth 15 minutes of your life. So let's jump into this here. So happy Motivation Monday, everybody. If this is your first Motivation Monday, this is the layout that we're going to do. So we're going to go through a tip of the week. We're going to take a look at what the sales trends are and who the sales leaders are. Then we're going to end with the sales technique. All this will get done within 15 to 30 minutes. So tip of the week, previous week. So let's go back about 2 weeks ago. That is when the 12-month ruling officially happened. They have till April 23rd to finish their 60-day comment period. So companies can't make any changes yet. We went through, we were talking about what changes they're expecting to come up. Everything is going really great. Expect some new short-term things as far as it goes. Keep in mind, it was just with National General, so that is where my mind is focused this morning. They have some really good things coming up with their short-term. There'll be some slight changes to the agent's benefit. I know one of the things that they were talking about is that they got a lot of feedback for them. So what is going to roll out? Something that we're probably, hopefully I'm crossing all my fingers and toes here, are going to love. So hopefully a new good short term there. The tip of the week for this week is that we do have a YouTube channel. Everyone goes, hey, you know what, you post these online, they're at ahcpsales.com, but what happens if I want to watch it on my phone? I completely get it. You can go to our YouTube channel. I just type in AHCP and we pop up right there at the top. You'll see our little green logo. We are rolling out all of our product videos are going to be on there. All of the last Motivation Mondays are going to be on there, and some old sales trainings from about 3 to 5 years ago are also on there. They're still relevant though. We removed almost everything that's not relevant, so keep that in mind. We do have some things coming up on there that should be loaded soon. So that National Life Group webinar, if you did not get a chance to attend that, that should be loaded on there soon, as well as NatGen is launching that new lead platform that a lot of people have been hearing about. So that will be loaded on there once that video is done. I believe it should be done this week for you guys. So keep in mind, we do have a YouTube channel. Feel free to go on there. Everything that we do is loaded on there. So if I reference anything today that says, hey, in the past we went over XYZ, you can just go to YouTube and watch that. So let's start taking a look at our trends this morning. So no change in short-term medical, kind of boring. No change in fixed benefit sales, kind of boring. No change in accident sales. You guys are going to start getting a trend here. Kind of boring that way. Hey, we had an increase in critical illness, which is always great, and no change in dental there. So that being said, as of right now, I told you we're going to start finding our running rate, or what we should be expecting. That's this, right? So we're kind of hitting it until we get to the summer months. So expect this to just keep kind of going the way it is, unless anything crazy happens all of a sudden in government legislation, and then you know what? We'll probably be busy yet again. Don't be freaked out. This is just kind of how it works. One of the things we'll talk about today is, you know, hey, if you only get 100 leads, let's say you just only will ever get 100 leads, how can you make those leads work more efficient in your favor? So if you're sitting here saying, no, this is my running rate, but I'm not happy, listen up in a minute or two. Let's do our sales shout outs. Again, those are not going to be that exciting because it's going to be some of the same people. So congratulations, Katya. As always, taking gold there. Andrew Orlikoff, good job taking silver there with the limited benefit sales and Robert Swander. Congratulations taking third. It was a huge VBA week, so expect that on almost everything we went over. It seems like we kind of fell in love and we're running with it. So for our short-term medical, Dustin Pearson, you actually just whooped everybody's butt by about tenfold, it seems like. So good job, Dustin, taking first there with the short-term medical. Andrea Orlikoff taking second there. Kudos. And Elaine, good job with your bronze. I know the Olympics are over, so don't yell at me for using those, but you know what? That's kind of what we're going to go with. So let's see here if here we can get this done going kind of quick for you guys about how can we increase our appointment setting. So, you know, one thing I do is I like to talk with people and they always say, you know, I want to close more, I want to close more, I want to close more. We all do. Trust me, it's the story of our life. But if you want to think about it, sales is really a funnel, right? So it's going to be a numbers game. And yes, there are ways to improve the size of your funnel. We all know that. Do you want to have a really big base where you're closing a ton and a really narrow top? Yeah, probably, where you don't have to put as much effort in. But realistically, sales is a funnel. We play numbers games in almost every sales environment. Funny enough, these numbers are kind of what works. Our goal, obviously, is to increase the sales. But if there's any part of the funnel that we can work on, that's going to help you in the long run. So let's take a look at what it is. So being that everything is going to say one sale here at the bottom, realistically, here's the numbers that you need. You more than likely can close every other person you talk to. And I'm going to get these people who say, you know what, that's a lie. I close 80% of what I talk to. And I'm going to say, then, you know, we probably have a different definition of what a pitch is. Keep in mind that, you know, it takes people probably between 6 and 8 calls to actively contact and get somebody on the phone. So if we can increase that as well, which is another video on that YouTube channel, hey, that would be great for you. It's going to take 5 appointments. So basically every other appointment that you set is going to show up, and it takes about 10 calls to get appointments. That number is bigger for some people, smaller for others, depends on how you work and where you're located at. So if we're going to just say out of every 10 calls you can set an appointment, we can increase the number of calls, but that's going to be increasing the amount of work. Our goal, as we're talking about, is to work smarter, not harder. That's an old phrase that I love to use in myself and with all of my friends. They're probably sick of hearing that. But this area right here that you are seeing growing here, 5 appointments, that's what we want to work on. We've talked a ton about how to dial, how to answer phones, how to leave voicemails, how to pitch. But you know, one of the things that you have to work on is, so if you are talking to the client, what makes them actually want to talk to you? What makes them actually want to show up? And just work with you. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to just increase your contacts, right? So if anybody here has done cold calling in the past, I actually worked a job where it was almost 100% cold calling, and I hated it. It was actually my very first sales job I ever did. In my cold calls, some of them were over the phone and some of them were face-to-face. And at one point, the owner literally ripped out the name of every attorney because of what we were selling and says, here, just go through and call all of them. I was in my teens at that point, kind of freaked out, not sure what I should do, but that's kind of what works. So they say about 2% of cold calls result in appointments, okay? Meaning that really takes a ton of calls and leads. The most important part is leads because they get expensive to get the job done. So any small thing can make a big impact on both your expenses on buying leads, but also just your commissions, right? Let's be a reality. Yeah, we love helping people. That is the main reason why we're here. But, you know, we also like putting a roof over our head, clothes on our back, and food on our table. That's just what we do. So let's talk about first again, we're going to do increasing contacts. You probably have heard this one before. First thing I'd recommend trying is calling during off hours. Have you ever heard of a bubble sheet? So what those are is that it is going to be a sheet that's going to put the hours of your day that you want to work. So let's say you start at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. No, you're not going to work every hour of that, but just gives you an idea. And it's going to have a 1 through 30 on it. If not, you can make these yourself. It's really easy. So you just put 8 a.m., you write down 1 through 30. Every time you make a call, you put a little tick mark through it, right? You contact somebody, you put a circle, you set an appointment, you color it in. Why would you say that? Why would you even do that? You're saying, you know, it's another thing to do when I'm doing it. It's going to help you track over the next few weeks what your effective hours are. And you're going to say, hey, the best call times are because I'm working in this state. Maybe. It also could be the best call times because when you're trying. In all reality, the best time to call is when you're picking up the phone, right? The best time to call is going to be anytime, but it's going to be when is the best time for you? When are you most effective? Because it's going to be effective not only for your client, but also for you. People say try before 10 a.m. and after 4 a.m. They also say the worst times statistically are 11 and 2, but that might be different for you, right? You want to think about when our clients, because we're going to be working with small business owners more than likely, when are they busy and when are they not? So those are just one of the small things to check on how to get a hold of them, right? So first off, if you've never done a bubble sheet, absolutely do a bubble sheet. I've done these with a ton of people and everybody's going to roll their eyes every time people roll their eyes. But hey, if you know all it's going to take me to do is make a little check marks to make me more efficient and help me make more money, I will absolutely do that. Another small thing to do, these are just quick hints before we jump into the big meat here. You need to tell them right away how you helped others. Your first goal is to help the customers. Prospects will instantly resist setting an appointment with you if they think if you're only in it for yourself, right? Humans, as I've said 100 times, we're selfish beings, and that's absolutely okay. We want to know how we're going to be helped instead of how you're going to be helped, right? Right up front, one of the first seconds of your first contact, you must exude service, not selfishness. This is especially important because before you even open your mouth, honestly, when your prospect's on the phone, they're going to be in defense right away. Your pitch should be more selfless, more of a I'm here to help instead of I'm going to sell you right now. So things to keep in mind that your services are free, and that, bam, right away, you are here to help them. You know, my job is just to go through, ask a few simple questions, make sure I'm going to match you up with the right insurance that you need. Keep in mind my services are absolutely free. Quick, easy, painless. And another quick one before we jump into a few quick hints here is the gatekeeper. I get this complaint on every person I've ever talked to on the face of this planet. I hate the gatekeeper. Okay, here's a trick for you. If you start with the concept that I hate the gatekeeper, you're going to hate the gatekeeper. But if you start with the concept of I'm going to learn to love the gatekeeper, you're going to learn to love the gatekeeper, okay? If you walk into the situation, you sound threatening and salesy, the gatekeeper, be it the husband, the wife, the secretary, the assistant, you need to start right away with why you're calling and that they inquired. Because keep in mind, if you buy a lead, the reality is that they inquired somewhere. They put their information in somewhere, and you're really just here to help. The gatekeeper is someone to try to get to know a little bit, and you can find out honestly a lot. Let's be honest right away, gatekeepers, they're beasts. They know they're beasts. To them, it's actually a game too. So it's a game to you guys. It's like a big fun tennis match going on. So if you know it's a business number, not a cell number, give it a call before or after the gatekeeper leaves. I know it's a little evil thing to do, but do that. Most gatekeepers, if they're going to be those assistants and secretaries, they're not going to work long hours. More likely, they're hourly employees, and if it's a small business owner, they don't want to have to keep paying an hourly employee for times that they don't need it, so call before. Keep in mind, I have a ton of family who are small business owners, and they arrive way before their assistants do. For example, my father, he arrives at 7 a.m. His first admin doesn't come until 9. So if it's at 7 o'clock and the phone is ringing, not saying to do this, guys, keep that in mind, but if it's early, he will answer it. So that being said, with the gatekeepers, just let them know that first off, like I said before, hey, you know what, your employer actually reached out to me to contact them. My job here, keep in mind my services are free. I am just here to ask them some questions about your guys' health insurance situation or his or her health insurance situation. Make sure that they have the right policy. That's my only job. Completely non-threatening, completely non-threatening. Also, if you are doing that, if you call a same gatekeeper 3 times in a row that day, you're probably going to piss them off. So a good thing to do is to separate everything that you do into folders. If you don't have a good CRM, you can contact our contracting team. They do have a few ideas for you. If you're still on the old Excel systems, I completely understand, but you may want to take a look at out there, just Googling insurance CRMs. There's quite a few of them out there that I know of that could help you just divide your leads and just help you work a little smarter. Unfortunately, if you are working with a CRM, they are going to cost you money, but sometimes you need to invest in your business to make business. Okay, let's jump in here. Sorry, guys. Little soapbox rant going on this morning. It's probably due to being sleep deprived. So here's a fun one. How do you make them remember about the appointment? So you're talking to this person. They go, okay, cool, your services are free, and you know, I have some questions for you, but I'm really busy right now because I'm a small business owner. When can we actually meet later? Great, you can do the old which close. I love this one. We talked about last week when we were talking about giving them choices at the end of the call. Also think of a call as a funnel. In the beginning, you're going to be nice, friendly, and open, and you're going to funnel them into what they need. So in the beginning, hey, let's be fun. So give them 2 choices. Use the word which. I have a 9:45 in the morning. I also have tomorrow at 3:50 p.m. Which works best for you? Okay. Another thing too, give them 2 choices, no more, no less, but make sure that the times are kind of odd. First off, because if you use a happy hour like 4 o'clock or 4:30, I mean, you can do 4:30, but 4 o'clock and 4:30, those are really easy to forget because we think about them all the time. But if you use something like 3:45, 3:10, 4:15, those are really odd numbers, and most people it sticks out in their head. So keep in mind with humans, if we use odd hours, it has to be something unique and it's going to stick out in their brain. But if you're one of those people, and I actually did this on my very first sales job, and I'm completely embarrassed to admit this to you, but I would literally only do it on the hour. So I have like a 2 o'clock, I have a 3 o'clock, I have a 4 o'clock, and I would do the which close because, I was hearing about them in all these sales meetings I was going to, because this was basically before the internet, I feel. And so I go to these sales meetings and they say, use the which close. I'm like, yeah, I love that idea. And so I'd say, hey, you know what? I have a 10 a.m. and I have a 2 p.m. Which works best for you? And they would pick the 2 p.m. and then they'd never show up. And I would be sitting there twiddling my thumbs, confused on why I was doing a bad job, because 2 p.m. is boring, right? You have to do something unique. We talked about that and just how to introduce yourself. Do something unique, make yourself stick it out. My personal favorite, and I hope everybody does this, but if you don't do this, tell them to grab a pen and paper. And don't say write it down. Don't say write it down. If you say, hey, write this down, that's useless. You got to tell somebody what to do. What I'd like you to do now, just grab a pen and paper and then shut up, right? We talked about Zig Ziglar, the power of silence. Have them grab a pen and paper and be quiet. Listen for them grabbing that pen and paper. Or if they're gonna say, okay, cool, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna put this in my phone. Listen for them doing that, putting you on speaker and getting their phone out, okay? Have them write it down. You can hear them do it. It's my favorite thing. Hey, grab a pen and paper. Rustle, 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 rustle. Really fun for me. But then have them repeat it. Why? Because you are holding them accountable all of a sudden. Have them repeat it back to you. Okay, so you wrote down my name and number. I get it. I'm kind of excited. I talk a little fast. What is that name? What is my number again? Just to make sure you have that. And if they didn't write it down, or if they don't repeat it back, you have 2 choices. Obviously, you're going to repeat it back to them. But what I do with people like that is sometimes I put a little note in my calendar. Yeah, not a good chance they're going to show up. Why? Because if I have somebody who's going to for sure solid show up, I'm going to double book that appointment slot. And by that saying, you are busy, right? Let them know this is extremely busy time of year. We have a lot of things that are going on in legislation right now, and I want to make sure I'm going to help each one of my customers. So if there's any reason that you can't show up to that appointment, I'm going to send you a reminder email, shoot them a reminder email, and just respond to that email saying, unfortunately, I can't attend. But here's one of my favorite ones. So you told them to write it down. You gave them something to do, right? You had them repeat it back. You're holding them accountable. But what's the third thing? You got to make it stick in their head. How are you going to make it stick in their head? Give them homework. Great. So what I'm going to need from you, bam, what I'm going to need from you in this next meeting is I want you to find what you've had in the past or what you have right now, whatever's going on, and let me know at that meeting, what about it did you not like so I don't make that same mistake? Very powerful phrase. What about that did you not like so I don't make that same mistake? Because what are they going to do? They're going to actually take out that piece of paper or whatever they're going to do, find online, find their own policy, and they're going to sit there thinking, what are the negatives? Great. They're already thinking about negative about the other product they had. So when you walk in with yours, that is easy. You are now a knight in shining armor. Congratulations to you. Few other things. So have them realize, we talked right away in the beginning, you have to have your client think about it in a different light. So if you're sitting there going for the appointment and you're like, you know what, I know when I'm setting appointments, I have to go through and I have to give them a sense of urgency. We've all heard this. If you want someone to show up, give them a sense of urgency. I love hearing that. How do you do it though? Right? We hear, give them a sense of urgency. Yeah, I can do that in my voice. Right? We've talked about tone inflection. We can do it. And we can sound really urgent in our voice and that this is important. But if you don't, I mean, great, you're giving them homework, you're giving them all that, but make them realize what's going on. So just right away, I know, we're going to have that meeting tomorrow at 3:15, but when would you like the policy to start, just out of curiosity? Well, I want it to start in, what is today? So today is March 5th. So it's March 15th. Oh, wow. Okay, so if we want a March 15th start date, we really have to get moving on this. And that's the truth, because what happens if you're going to write a critical illness policy that has underwriting? What happens if that short-term medical policy has underwriting? You want to make sure they get through. So your start date's approaching really quick. I know with everything going out right now, we have a lot of options that could save you a ton of money, but they do have a bit of underwriting. So we do need to get this started as soon as possible. I hate saying as soon as possible, but we do need to get it started when we meet, okay? Another thing to do, we can ask them about what they not like. So you said that one of the reasons why you put your information in online is you're paying $1,200. What kind of savings are you looking for? Oh, I would like a lot, ha ha ha. No, I get that, but what kind of dollar amount savings do we need to match? If they say, you know what, I have to save $900, that's not realistic. You can be honest with them up front, and guess what? You just got points for being honest as well. And here's one of my favorite ones when they said, you know what? I'm not interested, XYZ, I don't want to talk to you, remove me from Facebook, we can't be friends anymore. I get that, but you put your name in online. I'm just wondering why. You're not being confrontational, you're not being mean, but really you just want to know why. Maybe, my daughter got sick recently and our insurance didn't cover everything. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. What kind of insurance did you have? Great, you started a conversation. Never be afraid to ask why. Never be afraid to ask why. And to keep in mind, busy time of year, it's special enrollment period. These things are going on. If you are going to write them a major medical policy, there's maybe some documents that we have to get. If you're going to write a short-term policy, there may be some underwriting we have to do. If you're going to be doing fixed benefits, we want to make sure all the start dates match up. So we need to meet as soon as possible. Another thing here, be prepared. So be prepared for objections. Be prepared for reschedules, okay? Objections, that's when we should get excited. We don't want to have objections in our sales process. We want to have objections up front. Let the client get out all their objections before we even start the information gathering. This is when I want to hear the objections, right? We talked about the joke. Really in our sales process, it's not about who has the biggest mouth and can hit each other in the hardest. That's the truth. In the front though, I want to know what your objections are. I want to pull out the negatives. I want to know about your bad experiences. I want to know why you're not going to show up. Because when I get you on the phone for the appointment and we're going to go through and I'm going to do a presentation of a product, that's what we call the time suck. That's going to take a lot of time out of you. I'd rather spend the time with the people who matter. And keep in mind, reschedules are normal. People get so disheartened about reschedules. Life happens. If you've ever had a kid, do they get sick? Yeah. Do they get injured? Absolutely. Does your kid forget to take home that notice that says, guess what, you're the next parent on the field trip? Oh yeah, that's a hobby. I swear that's a hobby of theirs. So nothing big. When a reschedule happens, oh, I completely understand. Unfortunately, with my calendar, it's filling up really quick. These are the only next times I'm going to have available, which would work best. There you go. Don't forget to send a reminder email. Try to collect their email address up front if at all possible. If you are really afraid they're not going to show up, this is an old thing that I used to do. I worked right across from an agent, and her and I, we were number 1 and number 2. And people said, why do your appointments always show up? I go, you know what we do? We actually, towards the end of the day, we flip each other our calendars. This is back in the day when you had to write things down on paper. Don't judge me on this one. But we'd actually flip each other our calendars and we'd go through and call the appointments for the next day saying, hey, you know what? I'm one of her assistants, just going through to make sure that this time is going to work for you still tomorrow. And it was ridiculous how well that worked. I could pull out also objections that other people had, and we would just help each other out. Keep in mind, if you are working with other agents, there's a lot of people out there. Lead with love, help them out. They're going to help you out right back. And don't ever be afraid to ask for the appointment. If someone's just sitting there, creating all these objections and working about it, I get it. You have a lot of things going on. It sounds like you have a lot of questions. Unfortunately, I don't have the time right now. I'm about to meet with a client. Do you want to set up an appointment where we can talk about this further? Nothing wrong with that. Ask for the appointment. Don't ever be afraid to ask for the business if you need to. And here's my last tips for you, okay? On average, 25% of meeting schedules are no-shows. Generally speaking, 50% of these no-shows can be rescheduled. This is the simple part of the process, so don't get discouraged. Remember, you're not scheduling a qualified sales call, but simply changing the context of your initial pitch. Be prepared to be professional, handle no-shows, and focus on getting your client just to recommit. If you're having issues with those no-shows, find someone else who works in the industry. Again, do the calendar flip. Don't ever be afraid to do the calendar flip. Don't be afraid to have somebody call out on your no-shows, and just have them go through it. Not a big deal. If you want to call out on your own no-shows, that's a ton of fun too. Some people get anxiety and choose to pick other people. just go through, call them up, and you want to get them to recommit. Hey, I get it. You didn't have time to show up before. Just wondering if there was something that happened. If you already found the insurance that you're looking for, they're going to give you some BS line, and that's when you get to overcome the objection. It's really fun that way. No sales are people who pick up the phone and say they're not interested. Give them a bit of time. My no sales, I like to give them like saying, you know what, I'm not interested, don't call me. I get it, probably because what happens is they put their information online, they got called by 63 people and they're not having a good day. You may have been the first, you may have been the best, and you may have gone through, they might have done their homework, but then they just keep getting beat up, and these other garbage agents are making you look bad. It's okay. Give them some time. Some people need space. I know it sounds like breaking up in a relationship, but give them time. Just give them time. And the ominous reschedules. This is my least favorite personally. These are people you need to just kind of take down. So the ominous reschedules are people who are like, oh, I can't do it today. Can we do it this day? And you're like, sure, yeah, great. I can't do it that day. Can we do it that day? Yeah, that's great. The person who's actually, if you've heard any of my stories in the past, I have some lady who's my referral queen. And I don't even want to tell you how many reschedules it took for me to get her going down. What do you do? Talk to them like a parent. Let them know your time is valuable, and then make them call you. That way you can keep doing what you're doing. What I would do with this one lady is I would literally schedule her during my times where I would be doing outbound calls. And you're like, that's stupid, Dan, you're doing your outbound calls. Yeah, I get it. It is dumb. I was doing my outbound calls, but I could keep going. And if a call came in, I would get all excited and she'd talk to me like, oh, you actually showed up. And sometimes she'd even reschedule on those. I'm not kidding you, but that's okay. Don't let the ominous reschedules get you down. Just become a parent with them. Instead of using your, hey, you know, I'm a friendly agent. My services are free. Everything's going to be good. I'm going to fix it for you. I get it. You need to change into the parent mode. You have a lot of questions. A lot of things are going on. My time is extremely valuable and I can't keep doing these no-shows. Listen how my tone flipped. Let your tone flip. You know, sometimes you got to be real with people. You got to be the adult in the situation and don't be afraid of it. People are scared of you. Why are they scared of you? Because you're talking about things they don't understand. Nobody likes to be the idiot in the conversation. And if you do, we should talk offline because that sounds like a weird hobby. But just become the adult. Let them know that, you know what, I'm going to thoroughly explain everything. I'll make sure you get all the information that you need, but I can't keep rescheduling you like this. So those are a few tricks. I hope you guys picked away at least one or two things for the week. Sorry about that. I went a little soapboxy and we ran almost a full 30-minute meeting here. If you do have any questions or you want to dive more into that with that, let me know. My email address for you guys, training@ahcpsales.com. You can say, hey, Dan, I have a few questions for you. Don't worry, we can help, okay? So hope everybody has a great Monday, and I thought we'd end with a little bit. The first step in exceeding your customers' expectations is to know those expectations. Okay, keep that in mind. We want to make them think different, and we want to let them know. We want to find out what their expectations are so we can meet them. I thought it was a good way to end it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to email training@ahcpsales.com. If not, go throughout the week, do some great work, and I will talk to you all next week. Have a great Monday.